everyone, and I am back for part 8 of my unnecessary ranking of 100 more Victorian books. I hope that you are enjoying this, and I will dive in with number 30, and that is The Treasure Seekers by E. Nesbit. This is the first in a series of children's stories by her about the Bastable family, and in this one, their father loses his money. And so they take it upon themselves to find treasure to help support the family financially. And the lengths that they go to find wealth, it just becomes more and more ridiculous as time goes on. And it's just a lot of fun. In the midst of kind of a lot of more intense, Victorian fiction, I think this could be some lovely variety and it's so fun, the Treasure Seekers, the Bastable Family series by E. Nesbit. Coming in at number 29 is Country Stories by Mary Russell Mitford. Is that right? Yes, Mary Russell Mitford. If you enjoy Cranford, I think this would be worth your while. So this collection, it was released in 1837, so it just counts as Victorian. And before this, she had written a one called Our Village, and it's a similar feel to this. So it's very quiet, but has just such charm to it, telling about this quaint community. Also, it feels kind of like Lark Rise to Candleford, and the illustrations are by George Morrow, and they are just delightful. So yes. Mary Russell Mitford, her story is really sad in that her father was addicted to gambling, and he just gambled away the family money. And so Mary Russell Mitford took it upon herself to support herself with her writing, and she was able to do that. Also, she had a friendship with Elizabeth Barrett Browning, and I've even found there's a collection of letters between the two of them. So at some point I would love to get my own copy of that. But yeah, Country Stories. I loved this edition as well. But like I said, it's also accessible on Project Gutenberg. It might just be listed. The individual stories might be listed. So if you're interested in kind of knowing exactly what stories are in there, just write to me in the comments and I could tell you specifically the stories that are in this collection. All right, we are moving on to number 28. And this is a book that I've kind of, the farther I got from it, I feel differently about it and I feel more positive about it. And that is Comin' Through the Rye by Helen Mathers. So this was a big hit in the Victorian era. I did not know about it until a few years ago when I was interviewing two lovely ladies from the Charlotte Mary Yonge Fellowship. And I asked them, what's an underrated Victorian book? And one of them mentioned Comin' Through the Rye. This is a coming of age story. It's semi-autobiographical about Helen Mathers' life. I think what happened is I was taken aback by, there's 3 sections to it. And the first section is her girlhood section. And I had so much fun reading it. It was so lighthearted. It was really funny. It made me laugh a lot. And then things get pretty melodramatic when she's a young woman. And there are some romantic entanglements. But the more I think about it, the more I think that is how things are when you're a young woman. And then it has a kind of dramatic finish to it as well. But I have to say the writing in this is absolutely amazing. It feels so contemporary. It feels so gripping. And I now really feel very positive about this. A lot more positive than I did when I first finished it. So I want to come back to it kind of with new eyes at some point, but just I can't tell you how lovely the writing was. And even I almost wonder, I did kind of note some of the passages. Yeah, it's just, here's one example. I am lulled into an exquisite dreamy sensation of delight at the mere fact of existing on this bountiful, rich-hued, glorious June day. So I'll be really curious kind of what I think of it when I come back to it later on, and see what I think kind of now knowing what I know about it, and the different sections to it. So yes, Comin' Through the Rye, that was number 28. So now we get to number 27, which is Eleanor's Victory by Mary Elizabeth Braddon. I have had a number of books by her that they weren't quite what I was hoping they would be. And so Eleanor's Victory felt like such a breath of a fresh air. I was utterly fascinated by the character of Eleanor. In the beginning of the book, something really dreadful happens to Eleanor's father. And so then the rest of the book is you following Eleanor while she tries to fight for justice for her father. And I could not stop turning the pages. I listened to this on audio, so I could not stop listening. I had to know what was going to happen to Eleanor. And I am not typically a revenge tale type of person. I don't like to spend a whole book because someone is mad about something, and it's just normally not my style of story. But in this, it felt so fitting. Like I felt like the revenge it didn't even feel like revenge. It just felt like justice. That's what it is. A lot of times with revenge, it feels not like justice, but in this instance, it does. And you really want Eleanor to be able to be successful. And it was just incredibly gripping. So if you want to know, if you've kind of read several Mary Elizabeth Braddon and are interested in reading more, please, I beg of you to try Eleanor's Victory and see what you think of it. Number 26 is Fairy Tales of Ireland by W.B. Yeats. And this is an abridged version of, he has fairy tales, what is it? It's Fairy and Folk Tales of Ireland, and it's a much larger collection. I do also own that. But this is the collection that I got through first. And it has, this edition has illustrations by P.J. Lynch. And yeah, look at that. Just amazing illustrations. So this is an illustration from Soul Cages. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with the myth or the fairy tale of the Soul Cages. It completely captivated me and my boys, and we still reference the Soul Cages to this day. It just completely drew us in. I found it just utterly fascinating. What a really cool collection. And it was really neat to read this after we'd been reading Grimm's fairy tales for a while, to then read the Irish fairy tales. They felt very kind of earthy and just about, I don't know, just in a way they felt more real, even though they're still fairy tales. Really cool collection, and I'm excited to continue my way through the larger collection by Yeats. Alrighty, number 25 is The Prude's Progress by Jerome K. Jerome. This is a play that he wrote, and I think I enjoyed this as much as The Importance of Being Earnest. It made me laugh so hard. This is another one that's kind of a comedy of errors. And if you have enjoyed Oscar Wilde's plays, I think you should definitely give The Prude's Progress a try. Just some really weird turns of events, and just read it. It's really amusing, and I think you will really enjoy it. Number 24, and you've heard me speak about the story numerous times, and that is The Little Lame Prince by Dinah, Mullock, Craik. So this feels very much like a fairy tale. There is a prince who, because of an accident that happens when he is little, is lame. He cannot walk. And so then eventually his fairy godmother gifts him this magic cape that he can fly around on and see the world. And when she thinks it will bring him more contentment because he can travel, it just makes him actually long for more. So it's very much a story of personal growth. The Little Lame Prince, he is not the same person by the end of this book. And it's a really lovely journey of character growth. And this edition is illustrated by Lucille Corcos. And I just find it so lovely. You may have seen in thrift stores these editions. You can tell by the spine. I feel these are kind of ubiquitous in thrift stores. But yeah, just a lovely, lovely story made for a really lovely read aloud with the boys. We all really enjoyed The Little Lame Prince. And once you know about The Little Lame Prince and you're reading older books, you see it referenced quite a lot. It's even referenced in the Betsy Tacy series. So yes, really recommend The Little Lame Prince. Then at number 23, another children's story. And this is a Charlotte Mary Yonge children's story that I love so much. Countess Kate. Kate is the main character, and she becomes a countess when she is very young, and she does not like this. She loves the life that she lives. She is a little bit wild, rough and tumble, and she likes being that way. And here is when her uncle rescues her out of, they're visiting the Crystal Palace, and she's rescued out of the fountain. And kind of, it just is really fun. So if you are looking for a Charlotte Mary Yonge to start with, this might be a good one to try. It's a sweet little story, and the illustrations in this one are done by Gwen Raverat. Yes, that's what it is. I should have known. She illustrated a number of kind of Victorian children's books that I have. So yes, this is Kate. I find her such a lovable character. And then coming in at number 22, and that is Kilvert's Diary. This is a diary by Francis Kilvert, who was a clergyman in the Victorian era. And does it say? Just says the British countryside. I should remember where he was specifically, but I don't. The quote says that Alan Bennett says, Kilvert has touched and delighted and mildly shocked readers of his diaries ever since they were first published. New readers are in for a treat. It's just filled with beautiful descriptions of where he is living. You really get a sense of him as a person and the different struggles that he has. Here's just one quote from Saturday, the 6th of August. The trees were dripping from early showers, the tears of the morning. The morning was fresh, cool, and lovely, and the beautiful place looked more beautiful than ever. And then he goes on later on to say, the morning sunshine and shadows of the overhanging trees checkered and dappled the fish pond, and the gold and silver fish gleamed as they sailed from shadow into sunlight. Mrs. H. was planting ferns. The Gurnards had asplenium in the potting house, and I leaned on the windowsill outside watching her and making her laugh with Cooper's tithing time. The parson merry is and blithe, etc. Such a lovely, lovely diary, and it could be a really nice kind of variety for the reading that you do during October or whenever you feel like picking up Victorian literature. And then we come to number 21, which is The Vicar of Bullhampton by Anthony Trollope. So this is kind of the cozier type Trollope plot that I was talking about earlier that I just really love. I find that I love to get to know characters up close and personal when I'm reading a book, and I find that I'm able to do that better in his kind of quainter and smaller scale novels. But even so, there are 3 plots that happen in this. But the one that for some reason just amused me so much, and I think I just like plots to do with architecture. I don't know why that is. It's just something that I find interesting. So there is right across the way from where the Anglican priest and his wife live, there's going to be a Methodist chapel constructed, and there is quite a to-do about this very evangelical church that's going to be constructed, and something about it just really amused me. I had so much fun reading The Vicar of Bullhampton, and there's a sort of mystery that is part of the plot that I found really interesting, and I just loved it. I loved it. It was so much fun to read. That concludes part 8 of me ranking 100 more Victorian books. I hope that you are enjoying this and that you have a wonderful day. Please don't forget to leave a comment down below to talk about kind of the books that intrigued you from this, or if you felt really differently about one of the books. And I look forward to chatting with you as always, and I will be back with another ranking video very soon. Bye!